welcome to the Wandering Creatives Podcast. I'm your host, Allie Coots, and joining me for today's episode is Raleigh humor and children's book author, David Allen. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello, thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. I'm beyond excited to have you on the podcast to talk about your writing journey, how you got started, and kind of what your publishing experience has been like, because you're a self-published author and you've published over 10 books.
I have 11 to be exact.
You have 11 books.
If I kept count.
And that's like, I don't know, that's insane. You've managed to, I don't know, it's awesome.
I know, it's crazy.
So cool. And you also recently won the WRAL Voters' Choice Award.
Woo, woo. I sure did. Yeah.
If I had a soundboard, there'd be hand clapping here and cheering. Woo! I mean, that's got to be such a wild experience.
It's crazy. I know.
Can you tell us a little bit, what exactly is the WRAL Voters' Choice Award?
So that is a yearly competition that we have here in Raleigh, and WRAL, which is, of course, a news network that is all over North Carolina. They do a yearly voters poll of their favorites in the Triangle area. And I was nominated for North Carolina Author. And shockingly to me, I actually won it.
That is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, last year, Nicholas Sparks won it. I mean, come on.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, I succeeded Nicholas Sparks.
Whoa.
What?
My brain literally just like exploded.
Mine too.
I don't know if you can see it in my eyes, but I was like, holy shit.
I know.
That's
it's
amazing.
Crazy. Yeah. I'm still not sure how it happened.
What an accomplishment, though. That is. Oh, wow. That's insane. And you get the little like award sticker thingies that you put on all your books. And
we got a paper award, and we got a little sticker to put on our cars, and I'm a little bit extra. I may have had my own trophy made for it.
That's awesome. So cool. I mean, how could you not, though? I think I would do the same thing.
I had to. I mean, it deserved a trophy.
Yes. Especially, you should be on the trophy. It just says, "Take that, Nicholas Sparks."
I was trying to find a way to make it my hood ornament, so it would go with me at all times. In fact, I'm going to go grab it just so you can see.
Oh, yes, please.
I mean, I went all out.
Ooh, listeners, it's a beautiful glass. Kind of, what shape would you call that? Almost
a teardrop, yes.
Teardrop, glass.
But it's going the other way, so it's a happy tear, I guess.
I mean, beautiful award.
Thank you.
Well done. Good choice.
Thanks.
I was expecting like a gold trophy, but no. You went You went the classy route. I like it.
You've met me. You know it doesn't go simple.
That is so amazing. I had no idea that Nicholas Sparks and then you. Wow, that makes it like so much better.
I know. I should put that in every line whenever I put that winner of blah 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 succeeded Nicholas Sparks.
Formerly won by.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Thank you.
How long have you been writing for?
So this is the crazy part. I started during the pandemic. So I actually just started writing 2 years ago.
No way.
Yes way.
Oh my gosh, I'm learning all kinds of things today, which is glorious. I'm a baby. Usually know like a little bit about the people I interview, but I'm coming into this interview with David blind. I know nothing, and it's fantastic. Only 2 years, and you've done 11 books.
Yep.
Wow.
I know.
Was it the pandemic that kind of inspired you to start writing?
I actually had the idea of the children's book for a while before that, but the pandemic is what made me actually start typing the words. and getting it all together, because I was like, well, if we're in a lockdown, we have to do something. I have to do something productive, or I'm just going to feel like it was not worth it. I started to try to learn Spanish. That did not work very well.
We all come out of the pandemic speaking other languages now.
Yeah, I was all excited and did it for a few days and then just kind of forgot about the app. And
yeah. So prior to the pandemic and getting started writing, what did you have, like a creative outlet? Were you kind of a creative individual, or was it just something that kind of came out of nowhere?
I'm definitely a creative individual, always have been, but for some reason, all of my actual money-making jobs have all been the exact opposite. Like right now, I work for a healthcare company. And it's just, it's an 8-hour day, Monday through Friday, on your computer the whole day, just doing monotonous stuff. So I needed this to kind of balance that out.
Yes, I think anyone would need a creative outlet from that to decompress a little bit, I bet.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. I find that, very fascinating. Just because it's like when I was doing the 9 to 5, like I knitted a lot. Like that was my creative outlet, I guess. But so did you, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm so fascinated that you were just like, let's do this. I'm going to pump out 11 books in 2 years. And like, like
I know.
It just happened. And that's so cool. I love it.
I've done a lot of things that authors are not supposed to do. I like to think I'm kind of a rule breaker. So
I could see that.
Yeah. And I'm also one of those, when I find something I love, I'm just all into it. So this became a passion, and those are hard to find in life. So I knew that since I found it, I had to run with it. So I ran.
Can you, I mean, you like took off. You were sprinting. Can you share a little bit about what your books are about? Because you kind of have like a series going on, and then a couple, or maybe.
So I have all my books here.
Yay!
Visual aids. So I'll go in to show how my brain works, because it's all over the place. And once I had this one idea, it just sprouted 150 other ideas. So my brain just went in all directions, and it all kind of just vomited all at once. I had a brain vomit.
I love it.
So I started out with introducing T-rextra. And do you want to know the story behind T-rextra?
I would love to know the story behind T-rextra. Yes,
so
please.
How T-rextra started was my husband, Eric, always teased me for being extra, of course. And because I have tiny little arms, he would call me T-Rex. And in his moment of genius about, 5 years ago, he called me T-rextra. So it actually started out as a funny nickname for me. But over the years, I kept thinking, T-rextra, that sounds like a children's book character.
Yes, that's adorable.
So I had to make T-rextra, and T-rextra is all about kindness and empathy and loving yourself, and not only respecting but celebrating other people's differences, and just all the wonderful things that kids need to hear.
And I do want to say, absolutely adorable on all levels. Not only the story behind T-rextra. I always feel like I'm saying it wrong, and I'm like, is
T-rextra? No,
T-rextra.
It feels like there's an extra R in there, but there's not.
And so, and the illustrations are so cute.
Oh, that's a whole story in itself.
They're so cute.
So the illustrations, that came about because even though I'm very artsy and I cannot draw to save my life, and so I got on Facebook one day and I was like, so I have this idea for a children's book, but I need an illustrator. And I have some professional illustrator friends, and I couldn't afford them. So I just posted a general message on Facebook, and my friend Jordana, who actually I went to elementary school with, grades through kindergarten, maybe preschool, kindergarten through second grade, went to school with her. And we hadn't seen each other since, but we found each other on Facebook. And she said, my 15-year-old daughter is really good at drawing. And I took it with a grain of salt because I was like, well, every mother thinks their teenager it's amazing. So, okay, sure. Let me see what she does. And when I saw her art, I was like, okay, she was not lying. This kid is talented. So I spoke with them, of course, because she was 15. I made sure that Mama Jordana was in every single meeting, on every single email that we were talking about, because I didn't want her to think that I was going to cheat her kid in any way.
Yeah.
Because artists should be paid their worth at all times.
We love to hear that.
In case anyone did not hear it, artists should be paid their worth at all times.
Louder for those in the back.
One more time.
Yes.
But yeah, so I saw her art and it matched perfectly for what I was looking for. And I just asked, I gave her the general idea of what I was looking for. And she came up with this, and it was love at first sight. I was like, this girl gets me. I mean,
It's
she
so
read my
unique.
mind. Yes. So yeah, so that's where T-rextra came from. So it just was a whole bunch of things that the universe threw at me and just perfectly aligned. So
the style of the illustrations, I feel like it just adds like an extra uniqueness to everything.
I wanted it to purposely not look perfect. None of my books are perfect. In fact, a couple might even have little typos. I know. Again, okay, there's author rule number 1.
How could you?
There's author rule number 1. Make sure you have no typos in your books. The first time I printed a book and ordered 50 copies and then realized there was a typo, I thought I was going to die, because I was an English tutor in college. So I've always been a grammar nerd, one of those that corrected everybody's your, and yours. I'm that person. There.
Your soul just died on the inside a little bit.
I almost cried. In fact,
no.
maybe a little tear came out that I saw this typo. And then I was like, you know what? Because I do have mild OCD, and that's not a joke, that because you don't say OCD, it is an actual mental situation. I don't like to say illness because that makes you sound like you're sick and you're not.
Yeah.
But it's a mental situation where everything has to be perfect and in its place. And so a typo kind of destroyed my world. But then I was like, okay, breathe, David. You're working on yourself. So I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to let it stand, because this book is written by T-rextra in my mind. And T-rextra is a child. And you know what? Children make mistakes.
That's right.
And everything in life is not perfect. And you don't have to fix every mistake you make. Maybe there's a reason why you made it. So
I love it.
I have left any little mistakes that I have found in any of my books there, because they were there for a reason. The universe put them there, even though I think I'm a very thorough person. So, I mean, they're imperfect, and I wanted the illustrations to reflect that also. There's like, the lines aren't always perfect. They don't all look exactly the same. So I wanted to keep that sense of relaxation, and the world is not perfect, and we can deal with it. Don't freak out about it.
It works perfectly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfectly imperfect.
There you go. It was. I'm a fan, man. I'm a huge fan, because I was looking through it before I sent the copy I got from you to my nieces, because I was like, oh, this is like the perfect book for my little nieces to have. And I was sitting there reading it. I was like, oh, this isn't just for kids. I was
It's not.
we need to, some adults need to read these too.
And that was actually something that I was going to bring up in my writing process. I was like, well, I know when kids find a book they like to read it over and over and over and over again.
Mm.
And especially kids that can't read themselves yet, their parents have to read the books over and over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted my books to be something that adults enjoyed reading also. So I took a cue from Disney, and if the reason why Disney movies are so successful, the animated ones, is because there's little tidbits in there that are put in there for only the adults to understand and to laugh on their own, and the kids, it kind of just flies over their head. So I put that into my books also, where an adult could sit there by themselves without any children in the house and read the book and laugh at it because it's funny to them too. So I wanted adults to want to read the books as much as the kids.
Yeah, I mean, you knocked it out of the ballpark.
Thank you.
In my opinion, it counts for anything. You knocked it out of the ballpark.
Thanks.
They're absolutely fantastic books. And so you have how many in the T-rextra series?
Okay, I'll go back to my go back to my stack of books.
There's quite a few.
Okay, so I think we started this before we went on a tangent, but I started with introducing T-rextra. And then from there, I'm not a drawer myself, but I'm very adept at using computer programs. So once I had these initial images, I could take them and manipulate them with computer software. So that's where What's a Friend For came in. And it's kind of like a little offshoot of the main T-rextra series. And it actually has T-rextra intermingling with real life kids. So I was able to do that myself. So
very cool.
Yes. Hope, my illustrator, still got credit for these books because it was originally her work, but I did have her permission to take them and use them as I wished. So that's why I actually am listed on some of the books by myself, because I took the images of T-rextra and made them into all new images. So I took something that was already existing and made something brand new. So my second book was What's a Friend For, and that's my granddaughter on the cover in her little rainbow shirt. So,
adorable.
Yes, my baby Maci. So so when she becomes famous, somebody on a talk show can bring this up and be like, when you were little, your Papa D put you on the cover of this book.
Tell us about this T-rextra stuff.
Right. Well, hopefully everybody will know T-rextra by then. I mean,
exactly.
We'll be like, your grandfather is who?
It'll be like a cartoon by then.
We're crossing our fingers.
Put it in the universe. Put it into the universe right now.
Exactly. Then I had some computer art that had just been sitting waiting for it to be put in a book. So my next book was Angela and Natalia's Tale of Tales. And what this is, I took my two of my babies, Angela Basset Hound and Natalia, and I put them into all sorts of fun situations. Like they went to the Olympics and they did Broadway musicals, and they were in a whole bunch of classic television shows and movies. And so I have a whole book of just my dogs. I think that has sold a grand total of 3 copies.
Hell yeah.
But I did this for myself.
Yeah.
And the next 2 I also did for myself. It's a hard lock screen life and the game of wireless toilet paper laptops. Again, I have all these stories of where this stuff came from. What this was when I was at work bored. So when your computer, it has like that lock screen where maybe it changes every day and it's like you're in Italy. And also in your lock screen, it has like the little circle picture of you. Like it just has your face. Well, one day at work, I noticed that my face on my lock screen with Italy behind me kind of looked like I was rowing a boat. So I actually cut out pieces of paper. I put a shirt on myself and I put a hat on myself and I put this in my hands. So I was actually rowing the gondola in Italy. And that spurned an everyday thing. I would create pictures from my lock screen, and it has everything from Star Trek to me riding on a dolphin to Gulliver's Travels. I did 200 of these things.
I mean, it's a true pandemic fever dream.
Oh no, this was before the pandemic.
This was before the pandemic.
This was just while I was at work bored.
So it's a true 9-to-5ers daily life chronicle.
Yes.
That's glorious.
It really is. This is what I did to make sure that my mind did not die
didn't go crazy
at work. So I made enough to actually make 2 full books of this stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's where the humor of the humor and children's books came in.
And listeners, I'll be sure to include photos and little snippets from David's book so you can get an idea of what we're looking at here, because I get to see them.
It's something you have to see to understand.
But it's anyone who has worked an office job, I feel like those books are just like going to speak to them, because we've been there.
When I had to write a blurb for them for marketing purposes to describe what they were, I think maybe that is the longest thing or the most difficult thing I had ever had to write, because I was like, how are people going to understand what the heck I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What do you mean it's paper clippings?
Yeah.
Taped to your screensaver? What?
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. That would be
so it's kind of like computer art meets paper dolls.
Yeah.
Because I was literally like manually cutting out little tiny pieces of paper to make these pieces of art on my computer screen and taping them to the screen and then taking a picture with my camera.
That's amazing though. I mean, it is like collage art.
It is an art form I have never seen anywhere else. I Googled it and I've never seen paper doll lock screen art before. I created my own.
Trademark that shit.
I really do.
Make a note.
Yes. So, but those are not bestsellers.
One day.
I think it's going to be one of those things where people, when the general public discovers T-rextra, then they're going to find these on Amazon just out of the blue and be like, what the heck is that?
What I would love to see is to like walk into an office space that has like a waiting room of some type and have those be the books on the tables.
Yes. We
that would be great.
Happen. I might have to just print out some copies and just kind of like accidentally leave them in public places.
Like the dentist office, just be like, I'm just going to leave that there.
Do you want to hear a secret just between you and me?
Yes, please.
So whenever I first published T-rextra, I can't believe I'm admitting this. When I first published it, I took a copy to the local Barnes and Noble and I put it on the shelf and left it there.
Some poor Barnes and Noble worker with like someone comes up to check out with that and they're like, what is this? It's not in our system.
It was a couple weeks later when I checked, it was on their website.
Look at that. It worked.
It worked.
That's amazing.
But I felt, in a weird way, I felt kind of bad. I was like, it felt like I was stealing, even though I wasn't. It was like reverse stealing. I was giving them a book.
Do you know what? I have seen other people do that, though, I think, on...
Oh, good. I'm glad
like,
I'm not alone.
TikTok, I think I've seen people be like, I'm just going to leave my book on the shelf.
Do I need to do that on TikTok? Is that going to make me TikTok famous?
It might.
I'm trying to find something that will make me TikTok famous. I haven't discovered it yet.
Little animations of your T-rextra.
Something. I need something. But then again, I'm like 180 years old, so I'm really not of TikTok age.
How? You just got to find your people.
But in this day and age, unfortunately, to become someone, you have to be on TikTok.
Yes. TikTok is the new everything.
Yes.
It's the new
okay, so let me get back to this.
Yes. Back to the books.
So my next book was T-rextra 2. I was like, okay, I'm going to make this a series. Mm-hmm. In fact, it to be an 11-part series.
Mm.
So I'm going to be doing this for a while, whether people are reading them or not.
Yeah, do it for yourself. Yeah, do it for yourself.
And I'm only doing 11 parts because 11 is my lucky number. So I was like, okay, that's a good number. So,
and you currently have 11 books.
Oh my God.
Without continuing the series.
Then next is another offshoot of the T-rextra series. This is my second T-rextra tale. I put it in the same grouping as Be Anyone You Want to Be. What's a Friend For? This one is called Be Anyone You Want to Be. And what I did was I took the illustrations of T-rextra again, and I made T-rextra dressed up as famous people. Like you see there is Bob Ross and Dolly Parton next to each other.
Bob Rextra.
Yes. And just Ariana Grande and Charlie Chaplin. I mean, it's just random people. They make no sense together.
It's so
there was
cute,
there was no rhyme or reason. My idea was just for T-rextra to dress up and pretend to be people that are known for just being them. Like you instantly recognize this person just by seeing them.
Yeah.
So because anybody, if they try and they want to be, they can be that person who everybody just knows because they're them. And that's the whole message of the book. Be you and you're going to be a star.
I love it.
So that was my next one. And I did another one of those because I had so many ideas written down. That this is going to be another like 180 part series because there's just so many people in history that T-rextra can dress up as. I mean, we have Pink.
Oh yeah, Swing It. And from her concerts.
Hoda and Jenna.
I mean, these are so amazing.
Which I've tried tagging them on social media several times to get them to see it, but so far that has not worked. Today's show, are you listening? And then my next book that I published, which is actually not mine, I'm not taking credit for this, I did this for charity, was I had a 103-year-old neighbor who wrote a bunch of poems, and she showed them to me one day. So I asked her if I could please pair them with some pictures and publish her poems for her. So nice. Unfortunately, she passed away last year. But I was very proud that she was a published author before she passed away. Yeah. So her name will always be in the world somewhere because she has a book out there. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, and I took any profits that I made from that and gave them to a charity in her name. So that's why I don't take credit for that. It's not my book, it's hers. But I published it for her. So it's called A Collection of Original Poems by Willie J. Hewlin.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I loved her, so. But,
I'm going to have to look at that one. I love a good poetry book.
We miss Willie. Then the next one were two more in the series of T-rextra dressing up as famous people. You don't need to see all those, but it's just, again, random people that don't make sense. Then came T-rextra 3 in my dreams. So now Hope, my illustrator, is of college age. Oh. So she has a lot going on in her life. It's not that we're never going to work together, but, you know, life goes. So we are definitely going to team up again for another book. But in the meantime, I had this idea. I was like, well, there's all these illustrators out there that need a break. So I posted on Facebook looking for illustrators that were interested in doing an illustration for T-rextra 3. And my idea was, since it's all about T-rextra having dreams, and all dreams are different. So I had each illustrator do an illustration of T-rextra's dream, but in their own style. So cool. None of the illustrations are in the same style, but they're all T-rextra's dreams. And I actually got, 22 illustrators from 17 different countries. Wow. Each did an illustration for T-rextra 3. And I did it in reverse, which I've done with other books. This is my Breaking the Rules #2 for authors. I didn't exactly have a storyline in mind. I knew it was going to be about T-rextra's dreams, but I didn't know exactly what the story was. So I had them do their illustrations first. and then I grouped them together visually, ones that made sense together, and then I wrote my story based on the illustrations.
I like that.
So it's a very worldwide collaborative effort that was done in reverse.
That's so cool, though. It like kind of it gave me goosebumps a little bit. Like just the giving all those people an opportunity to get illustrated. They get, you know, they can have or get mentioned, I guess, as illustrators. Like they get to be published. I don't know. That's such an amazing thing to do. Such a great idea.
Thank you. I try to make my books different than anything that I have seen. That's one of my goals, to make different children's books, because they're for children who feel different. Yeah, that's my whole goal. When I was growing up, I don't know if you're going to ask this question. Am I getting ahead of myself?
No, go for it. Just like,
okay. So one of the big reasons I was interested in becoming an author is because when I was little, I spent half of my life in a library reading. I was extremely bullied in elementary, middle, and high school, except for the last 2 years. I was extremely bullied, so I was very introverted and didn't have many friends and spent a lot of time by myself, loved to read. And one day I actually did dream of having my own book. So that did come true. And I'm really big of kids who feel different like I did, seeing themselves in books and on TV and in movies, because when you see yourself, you feel more confident in yourself. So it's big for me for children who have a very difficult childhood, either because of family situations, anything that's going on, or just because they feel different or they are different and everybody lets them know that. I wanted them to have books where they could go in and just forget about all that for a minute and see themselves and feel, okay, I'm different, but that's a cool thing to be. So that's a big goal of my books.
I enjoy that so much. And yeah, I'm thinking back to my childhood and I'm like, yeah, it would have been nice to have like something that kind of represented a little bit of how you were feeling different and that it was okay to be a little different.
Yeah. When I was little, any depictions of gayness, they were non-existent in children's literature. I mean, it wasn't there, and anything I saw in movies and TVs was negative. So I can't even imagine. I mean, I turned out pretty well, but I can't even imagine what I would be like nowadays if I had seen this positive stuff and realized that, okay, you are different, but that's something that you should embrace and not be ashamed of.
It would have made, as a fellow library nerd child, it would have made a big difference, I think. Right. Yeah. All those moments of kind of questioning and wondering like why you're different. You know, there might have been a little bit of a manual to those feelings. So
exactly.
That's amazing. We've covered a lot, which has been glorious. I wanted to get a little bit into your publishing experience, because I've spoken to other self-published authors, and it definitely sounds like publishing on Amazon is fairly painless, I guess. And did you try to do like traditional publishing, or were you just like, I want to get this out there, I want to like share, you know, my books with everyone the fastest way possible, so I'm just going to self-publish? Or did you kind of look around a little bit before deciding to self-publish?
Oh no, I knew self-publishing was the way to go from minute one, because I had heard, and it's true, that to be traditionally published and actually be one of those big authors that you see being interviewed on the Today Show or having 1 million copies in the bookstore, that's like winning the lottery. I mean, there are 1 million authors, and out of those 1 million, probably one is going to become this huge book. So I didn't want to wait around for my number to be called. So I researched, and I didn't even know Amazon published books. I had no clue. But I joined some book publishing and author groups on Facebook and just read messages and how people were doing things. And it was all a self-taught learning minute by minute process. I had absolutely no help other than the advice that I got online from people. Yeah, I didn't take any classes or anything. I mean, there are classes out there for people to take so that they can get a better understanding. But I'm one of those people, I love to learn by myself and teach myself things. So I did this 100% by myself and it was a learning process and it was fun. And again, it was the pandemic and there was absolutely nothing to do. So I had plenty of time to research how to do this. But yeah, Amazon is amazing. You don't have to pay anything up front. You can get as many author copies as you want. So if you want to sell them on your own website or go to fairs or markets and sell them in person, you can. So it makes the process really, really easy to get into. I highly suggest it for people that are trying to get published. But if you think that being a published author is going to make you rich, if that's what you're in it for, you might want to find a new hobby.
Yes. That's good advice.
I published my first book and it was on Amazon, and I think somebody didn't quite grasp the concept, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I have a famous friend." And I was like, famous in my mind, maybe.
You're like, yes, definitely.
Sure, yeah. Yes,
I
the ring.
love it. You bring out your trophy.
Well, that didn't come until much later, so.
You're like, yes, I am famous. I love that.
But you know what? I've kept that in my head. I'm not I try to act like I'm conceited to be funny. So, but there is some truth to that, just like with stereotypes and fairy tales. There's always some truth in it. So there is some truth in my fake conceitedness. I have decided that I'm going to be the next Walt Disney / Mr. Rogers. If you took those two and they had a baby, it would be me.
I can see that. I can see that for you.
I am going to be that successful. I have that in my mind. It's going to happen.
It's like when people manifest. This is what they do, right? You're manifesting.
I have manifested that stuff as far as it would go. But you know what? It's a very slow process. I am also convinced I'm going to be one of those people that is not famous until they're 85. And I'm okay with that.
I also feel like fame can be in the eye of the beholder, right? Like
yes.
it is a construct of our society. So that's like anytime I publish a journal or like a poetry book or anything like that, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, that's so cool." And I'm like, it is fucking cool. And yeah, I am famous to you guys, which is dope. So
locally famous.
Exactly. Like, yeah.
I'm huge in Asia.
Famous, right? I'm huge in Ainsworth, Nebraska, which no one's heard about. But by God, they know me there.
Well, I do have books in Singapore.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Yes.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, I mean, someday everybody is going to know T-rextra and David Allen. That's just a fact. I like, honest to God, fully believe that. And I've already decided that 3-year-old granddaughter Maci, when she's older, she is going to become the CEO of T-rextra Extra. She is going to take over, and I'm okay with that also. I've already decided that for her.
Whether you want it or not, this is your future.
Yes. Well, she already acts like a little CEO, so she'll be good.
I love it. CEO in training. I love it. What's something that you've learned about yourself through kind of this whole journey that you've had with writing and creating and publishing your book?
I'm really smart.
I'm
very resourceful. Very resourceful. Like I said, this was all self-taught. I just kind of flew by the seat of my pants. I wasn't listening to any of the rules that people were putting on me. Because in children's books, there's a lot of rules that people follow.
Really?
Yeah. Like they should only be a certain amount of words, or you should definitely have an age group that you list on it so people know what age is supposed to be. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. When I was little, I was a very above average reader. So I still like the themes in children's books, but I would finish them in 30 seconds because there were 15 words.
Yeah.
But I still loved looking at the pictures. So my books are geared towards kids that also don't follow rules. And if they're good readers, but they still like the little kid books, but you know what? You have more words to read. And if you can't read that many words yet, you know what? You will be able to someday. Read it again in 3 years. You're going to just like it just as much.
Yeah. Oh, I love so much that is the thing that you've learned about yourself, is that you are fully capable of like learning, putting your mind to something and creating just like this amazing world that you've put together. Like what an amazing experience.
Not only the publishing part, but I had to also learn how to create a small business.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not just, okay, bam, the books are published and people are buying them. You have to market them. You have to be your own agent. You have to go out and wave and kiss babies and hawk your books on the street corners, like, please buy my book. So so I had to do a lot of things that I had never in my life even thought about doing. And it's just like a rolling stone. Once something goes, you have to start doing something else. And then there's something else you have to do. And so, yeah, I just learned a whole bunch of stuff and feel like I did it well.
Yeah. Like seeing your booth at the market and everything was like, I was super impressed. I was like, holy shit, this person knows what they're doing.
And that's ever evolving. Because like, you know, booths are little stores. So I have a all new looking booth that's going to be premiered at Out Raleigh on June 25th. Come see me.
So exciting.
Yeah, I never thought I would be a vendor at anything. I mean, I just bought vendor insurance. I was like, what the heck is vendor insurance?
You gotta have it.
But you know what? Our friend Google told me what vendor insurance was and where to get it, and so I did it.
Yeah. Gotta have that vendor insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So you have Out Raleigh coming up on June 25th,
right? Which
is just in 5 days. So listeners, if you are not planning to go to Out Raleigh, you should, because not only is David going to be there, but it's going to be a fantastic event.
Yes, Out Raleigh is lovely.
Yeah,
and
so
bring the kids, bring the babies, bring the dogs, bring everybody. Everybody is welcome at Out Raleigh. Yes.
What other events, like, are you working on anything else? You got any other events coming up that you want to share?
As of right now, no. I'm kind of focusing on Out Raleigh because it's a big deal. I'm used to being at markets where there's like 6 other vendors and you maybe have like 50 people come look at your table.
Yeah.
Out Raleigh is going to be a whole new beast.
It's going to be
because
wild.
There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people there. And even if just a fraction of those come to me at my table, and even if just a smaller fraction of those buy the books, it's going to be like nothing I've ever done before. So I'm scared that I don't have enough books. Hopefully I do not have enough books.
Exactly. I'm like, if you sell out, how amazing will that be?
Yes, I'm hoping that is true, that I do not have enough books.
Then you can just close down and be like, I'm sold out, I'm sorry, and then just pass out business cards.
Yeah, so it's nerve-wracking, and I'm going to be there by myself, which whenever you come and see me, I might have you man the table so I can go use the bathroom.
I will find you. I'll
Please
be your
do.
booth.
Come see if I need a bathroom break.
But I'll hunt you down.
But I'm doing it by myself, and it's nerve-wracking and exciting all at the same time. But I'm one of those people, I'm like, well, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow, so I'm going to try this new thing. And if I fail miserably, well, you know what? I tried.
You did it, yeah.
Because nobody on their deathbed is like, well, I'm so disappointed I tried that and I failed.
Yeah.
They're saying, I'm glad I did that and I failed.
That is great life advice. Like, live to the fullest, try.
Do it.
Because even if you fail, like you said, you tried, and then you can say that you tried a thing. So,
yes. I mean, we're
advice.
playing this rule in our life one time. We get to do
Yep.
this once.
Yep.
So make the most out of it.
Oh my gosh. Where can people follow along and find out like what events are going on and yeah, where can people find you?
T-rextra.com, and there is a dash between the T and the R. I made that harder on myself than it needs to be because people, if they hear T-rextra.com, they just type in T-R-E-X-T and nothing comes up. It's T-R-E-X-T. Again, there comes my mild OCD. I was like, the dash has to be in there. It's not going to feel right.
How you spell T-Rex?
There's a dash, T-R. T-rextra.com. I'm not the best at keeping that up to date because, again, I have never done a website before. So that's something that I manage myself. So between taking care of a 3-year-old and having a full-time job and having 3 dogs that are surprisingly not barking at me for talking to some ghost in the machine.
I know. They're doing so well.
Aren't they my babies? Yes. Oh, sorry. Once I start talking about my dogs, everything goes. What was I saying?
So we can find you at.
Oh, yes. If the website is updated, which I need to do that tonight. Thank you for reminding me, because my latest book, Velociraptori, which I did not speak about for some reason.
Glorious.
I totally skipped over her. So T-rextra's older, annoying sister, Velociraptori, got her own book, which she's been waiting for forever. And Miss Velociraptori, Tori for short, that's actually my stepdaughter's name.
Aww.
Maci's mother. Yes, she got her own book. Velociraptori is an influencer wannabe. So she, just like I think I'm going to be the next Mr. Rogers / Walt Disney, she thinks she is going to be the newest, hottest influencer out there.
Very nice.
Yes, so she does all of her influencing, and needless to say, she fails miserably.
Makeup tutorials, all of it.
In everything she tries, but you know what? It doesn't stop her. She goes on to the next thing and she tries it again.
I love it.
Yes, so that's my... And you know what? It's a children's book, but tweens are going to love this because she's a tween. I thought about actually doing a YA novel for her, but that's something, again, I've never attempted, so I'm putting that on the back burner. For right now, she's in a children's book, even though she thinks she's too old for it.
I love it.
But, I totally forgot. Another one of my things is I was saying that there's an age range that people are supposed to put on their books. I refuse to put an age range on my book because little kids can love having it read to them. Advanced readers that are 5 years old would love reading the whole thing. Other kids are going to grow into it. Adults like reading them by themselves. Every adult that I've seen read it in person, they laugh out loud, which is a good sign. And there also are readers that people forget about, which I felt were being shamed with age ranges, are adult readers who have just started reading as adults. And they are at a reading level of children's books. And I just thought in my head, how embarrassing must it be to go in and the only book that you can choose to read is one that says for up to 5 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, that must do a little damage in your head, like, oh, I'm only able to read a baby book.
Yeah.
So I refuse to put age ranges on my books because they're for whoever wants to read them and is going to enjoy them.
I hadn't thought of that. That's really interesting.
And that actually might limit some of my sales because bookstores like to have those age ranges so they can put them in their certain categories. But I don't care. I'm not trying to please everyone. And you know what? The audience that is going to enjoy these is going to find them.
Exactly.
Organically.
That's right. That's right. No, I had not thought of that. That's really a smart thing to do.
Yeah. So.
I like that.
Oh, they can also find me on Instagram. That's where I am most of the time. That's where I post every single day. So if you're really interested in stalking me, Instagram is the place to be.
Nice.
Try everything else. I do Twitter every once in a while. It doesn't really do anything for me.
It's hard to do it all, though. I can't thank you enough, David, for being on the episode today.
Thank you.
This has been glorious.
Oh, thank you. I had a great time.
I have loved learning about your journey, learning about your books, their process. It's been glorious. Thank you so much.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I had so much fun. I'm so glad you asked me.
Absolutely. When I met you at the market, I was like, yep, David's going to be on the podcast.
Yay.
I'm glad we were able to do it.
Me too.
And listeners, I'll put all of David's information in the episode description, including his Amazon author page, Instagram, TikTok, website, all of it.
Maybe not TikTok yet.
We'll wait on TikTok,
yeah.
But I think you'll be able to find him. So
I do post videos of my grandbaby on there sometimes, which, she's adorable.
Content.
So go look at her.
If you want cute content, go to TikTok. And listeners, I'd like to thank you for tuning in today. If you have questions for me or questions for any of my guests, including David, you can call or text us on our hotline. It's 252-419-6004, and we will answer those questions on a future episode of the podcast. So definitely, like I said, text or call and leave a voicemail, and we will do that. You can follow the Wandering Creatives podcast on Instagram, Wandering Creatives Pod, and be sure to rate, and review the podcast wherever you're listening. And until next week, stay creative. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Wandering Creatives podcast, a CEI media production. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast as it helps us greatly. You can follow us on Instagram at Wandering Creatives Pod and on Facebook at Wandering Creatives Podcast. If you would like to support the podcast, you can become a Patreon for just $5 a month. The link is in the episode description.